Hi, you're on mute.
Aha. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well. So imagine someone puts a holiday on a Saturday. Who does that?
What a
Oh, this is
waste. What a waste.
this is
What a
like
waste.
so useless. It's so useless, like the G on lasagna. It's more of like kunenaji apa sasa. So
How are
hello
you though?
everyone. Sorry.
How are you though? You're good? You're well?
I am really, really good. It's really nice to see you after such a long time. I can't wait to be on the same set with you. Kwa sasa tuko hapa kwenye social distancing. The moment I get my vaccination, it's over for you.
I look forward.
So, hello
So what's up?
everyone, welcome to Single Parenthood. My name is Conchita Lillian, and here with me I have, Nani, who are you?
My name is
Someone over
John.
here.
Welcome
In
everybody.
case you have, I don't know if it's me, I'm Anishida Daita, John King. We agreed.
Yeah, yeah, we are good.
So, John King is, you are on phrase, by the way. Do you mind, like, you have to reintroduce yourself, then I imagine.
All right. My name is John Keane. Welcome everybody to the show. Welcome to our talk show. Join us, engage us. It's gonna be fun. Karibu sana.
Yeah, so this is single parenthood, and we've been so excited about this for a very long time. We've been wanting to do this like for forever. So, John King, if I may ask you, to you, who is a single parent?
It's a very broad term actually, because a single parent, in my own definition, can be defined in many ways. You have single
Mm-hmm.
parent. In short, for me, a single parent is somebody who is raising a child or children or taking care of
Uh-huh.
young ones, uh,
Mm-hmm.
single-handedly or alone or in some sort of arrangement, not together as the norm should be. But again,
Yeah.
people can land into single parenthood in many ways. So, for example, you find in cases where a spouse has died, or you have a situation
Yeah.
whereby you have rape cases. Unfortunately, you have cases where mutual two people have mutually agreed to terminate their understanding or union or marriage, or it was just a fling
Yeah.
and something happened, or your sibling has passed on and you're now in charge of their children, or in
Uh-huh.
one or another you are taking care of certain people uh, single-handedly. So to me, that's what single parenting is, in short. What about you? What do you think?
When it comes to single parent, a lot of people assume it's about the like just a mom, a mother and a father. But it's more to it than that. Just like you've said, there's so many reasons it's why so many parents become single. Death, abandonment, it's called what, divorce, one night standish. The ones who make like their own decisions to be like, you know what, I just want to be a single parent. I don't want someone in my house. Then there are those unfortunately who go through rape, teenage pregnancy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of issues targeting as to why a lot of people can be, single parents. So if I may ask you, how did you end up on this side of town?
Well, mine started somewhere around about 2016, somewhere in April. So the mother of my child passed away, and I found myself in a situation whereby now I have to. I'm the only surviving parent, and then it was a dark period. To be honest, it was a very dark period in my life, uh, coupled with a lot of
Mm-hmm.
issues that were running around at the time. Remember, we also
Yeah.
at the time we were only 1 year to election period, and
Mm-hmm.
so mine, I, I I I became a single parent because of death. Sad as it may, I found myself in that situation, and life had to move on, and I had to do what I had to do. yeah, basically that's how I came to
Mhm.
be. What about you? And how did you land here? How did you become a single parent? I've known you for a while though.
You're shouting. Well, unfortunately for me, I became a single parent as a result of a divorce. Um,
Hmm.
by the time by the time I was making that decision, we had reached this place whereby we were in a very toxic situation.
Hmm.
I was married to someone whereby the two of us were hurting each other so much. And you see, there's this saying in Swahili that says, "Para swawili wakipigana, nyasi humia." So at this point,
Yeah.
I felt like our daughter was getting hurt because when by the time I made the decision of saying, like, you know what, it's enough, let's go our separate ways, I had thought about it and remembering that
Hmm.
I became a mother at such a young age. So I had no idea on how the journey was
Hmm.
going to be like. It took me on a like, you know, like a turmoil. It was so bad for me because I got into depression. Something that most people don't know is that it led me to a point whereby I was suicidal because the effect of it was too bad. I did not know, like I never imagined in my entire life that I would be a single parent at the age of like at the age of 24. So for me, it was always a struggle in terms of, am I with this person for the sake of the baby, or am I with this person
Hmm.
because I want to be there? When I realized that it's reached a point whereby I was thinking more about the child, because at the end of the day, nobody wants the child to grow up in a broken home. You know, people always
Yeah.
want the child to have a
Absolutely.
father and a mother, but things
Hmm.
happen. So for me, due to our reconcilable differences in a relationship, I felt best it's ending and us trying something like co-parenting, which has been, my God, a journey. Something that I am looking forward to talking about it like in the near future. So it is crazy, 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 and crazy. You tell me, how is the journey so far?
I mean, first of all, so sorry you had to go through divorce. I've never been there. I don't know. I can't relate how that goes. But from stories I've heard, I mean, divorce is one of those things that really drains somebody emotionally and basically physically. But yeah, for me, the journey has been a mix of all sorts of stuff. You have your ups, you have your low moments, you have I've had my periods where sometimes I just want to disappear and not to be around. Uh, and sometimes, you miss this child, and you're in a situation whereby you're the only surviving person, and you have to do it. You
Yeah,
have to be there. You have to be there emotionally. You have to be there physically. You have to change your priorities.
yeah,
It's been a roller coaster, balancing life in general, career and being a parent at the same time. It's
yeah.
been fun. Yeah, it's been fun. What about
But
you?
it's never
Has it
fine,
been?
though, Jinping. It's never fine.
I
Can we talk about
think-
it? But especially with you, like being left with a child that's such a young age,
Hmm.
challenges that you were facing during this period? Like, what are some of the things that you remember very well, and you're like, oh my God, like, please, Jesus, take the wheel.
I remember the first things that I had to make decisions on were areas to do with health, the health of the child,
Mhm.
because the
Yeah,
child at the time was still very and
yeah.
she was still going through vaccination period. So I remember, I mean, making those trips and going to the clinics, and then the effects of the medication, or rather the vaccines at night, the
Oh yeah.
crying, the fever, uh, and I must say, maybe it was just in my mind, but I used to have this bag, the one you put your
Yes.
pamper, pampers in, you have bottles in, you have change of clothes, and every time I used to go to the clinic, There was this particular lady who used nurse who used to look at me weirdly. She never just asked me, I mean, what's up with you? But looking
She had
back,
like
it
a
was
question
really
mark.
fun. Yeah, she had like a question mark to it, but it was fun. Generally, it was fun, challenging. Going through that
Yeah.
as a parent, especially male, I wasn't used to taking care of a child of that nature, and
Yeah.
googling stuff to find out, okay, this vaccine is all about. Then came the seasons of flu. Oh my God, it was crazy. But yeah,
But let me tell you one thing. There's
how's
one
me?
mistake you never do. You never Google a kid's symptom. If you want to go mad, Google the symptoms. Itakuja a spreadsheet like you never do that. It's a written rule. It's gonna drive you
Yeah,
insane though.
true.
So how
And
are you
it takes
dealing with
you in.
crazy?
Well, look, my background is basically medical. So to some degree, I would say I was lucky to understand a few things. But I can imagine something not in that space. I don't know. For example, yourself, how are you managing? I'm more interested in how you are managing.
I don't know. To be honest, sometimes I sit down and even I am surprised of how I've managed to being a mom and working and trying to create something at the same time. But if there's one thing I know for a fact is that when it comes to like this decisions making, there was a little bit of more of conflict for me because you see, for me it was way different because it had reached a point whereby we had to have like the decision was this child is going to have two different families, but the parents are still the same. So you can imagine knowing very well that it's going to reach a point that now at this time when this baby is with the father, the things that they'll be doing that I have no control over. And you see, like when she's with me, the things that we'll be doing and he has no say or control over. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of like a lot of conflicts coming in. But there's one thing and a rule I always had is when it comes to like being a single parent, it's never about the other person's personal business. It's always about the child. So before I actually learned how to know that, like this is where the focus is. First of all, this thing is confusing as hell. My God, sometimes you don't even know like what you're doing. There's no formula. No one tells you, so this is the formula of being a parent. So this is what happens. Oh, do you know, by the way, the baby never sleeps at night. They usually have colic. No one took me through that process. Like, I was like, what is this? The baby is crying the whole night and you're wondering, okay, so do I put music? Do I put lullaby? Like, what am I doing? So it was a lot of confusion before I could actually come and understand the situation. It was, to be honest, since it's a parent show, it was fudged up. And I found myself wondering, what am I doing? Like I would look at the baby sometime and I'm looking at this tiny little adorable, with no teeth human being. And you're looking at this person like this so innocent. And the first thing you're wondering is like, okay, this is like a full-time commitment. So by the time this is happening, for a fact this is a let's go kind of situation. So there's no backing down. So it's marathon runner. And I'm like, I'm not Kipchoge. Like, leave me alone. But you're not allowed to. You have to always be on the run, always be on the lookout, always be on the, oh my God. It can be so overwhelming sometimes. That is something that most people don't talk about. But now imagine on your end, raising a child. And according to research, sub-Saharan countries, we have 32% of most households are single mothers. But people are so much focused on the single mothers and not the single dads. And that's why I'm like, I want to hear your side of the story.
Well, look, I think by nature, men just generally don't talk about some of these things, and obviously, as much as they go through life and some of those challenges, but they are there. I mean, there are quite a number of men who are raising children, and this is historical. I mean,
Yeah.
President Kibaki, the former President Kibaki, is now a single parent. So I mean, he's as much as Akina James
You really
big
have to
enough.
bring back in this measure. After Kibaki.
There are quite I mean, there are quite a number of single fathers or other male parents that are raising children by themselves, and they're facing more or less similar challenges. Some started in between the journey. Some started from the beginning. You know, I mean, in some cases, you find like you become a single parent as a male parent, whereby a child is born, but the mother has passed on at their delivery. You know, what do you do? Now you start taking up the mantle. So the challenges basically in more people are more or less the same. We face the same things. We face issues to do with toiletries, you know, going to the toilet when they grow up. We face colic problems and scare the hell out of us. We also face issues such as, you know, flu. For example, you know, flu is one of the most annoying things for a parent. Flu and bloated stomach. Two things are really annoying. So for us, I mean, for me, it's been a mix of both. It's a mix of fun with it, a mix of challenge with it. But I remember my mother told me in the beginning that the thing is, you are going to be the parent that is available, and I've taught you better. So I expect that you'll do best out of this. So I had no choice but to, you know, take up that challenge and move with it.
But you see, the thing is, I feel like society is more favorable to us mostly because, you know, we will express our emotions and all that. But as a single dad, I don't think most of the time you're allowed to express your emotions. You're allowed to, like, you know, like be ndume. But people forgetting, like, at that time you are the mother and you're still the father. But now I'm imagining for a situation whereby you are raising a child. Let's say like when the baby is young. Do people have like changing areas in the male zone space? Because I know I am paranoid. Apart from raising my child, I also have like this, I call him my bonus baby, who is a boy. And when I remember like when he was a little bit younger, if I would take him to the washroom, I will go with him to the female washroom because I was paranoid. And I will make him enter into the female washroom, does his business, and that's it. But right now, because he's grown bigger, every single time now I have to take him to the male washroom, and I'm usually at the door shouting his name. I'm like, "Are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you okay?" So I'm imagining with you, you'll be able to do such a thing. You know, females like washroom, just like basic needs, basic care. I don't care.
It was really fun. Again, I used to have this bag, you know, this bag, the clinic. So the clinic bag, I would put the diapers inside and all that. So twice we were at a restaurant, and she wanted to go to the loo, and it was quite complicated for me because you know, where do you go? You take her to the female bathroom, and the lady starts screaming. The lady's there screaming, "Oh, there's a man in the bathroom!" and all that. Or you take her to the male bathrooms and live with it. So the easiest option for me was to go to the male bathroom because at least I wasn't gonna make ladies uncomfortable in their own bathrooms. At the same time, it was complicated in the sense that, you know, getting somebody to help you, like for example, getting a lady to help you take the child to the bathroom with the high cases of, you know, kidnapping, you know, you have child molestation that is happening both male and female. So that level of paranoia was something that I dread today. I really do. I mean, anytime I hear that, you know, she needs to go to the loo, I'm like, okay, am I back to the same? But she reminds me that, no, nowadays I'm grown. I can actually go. You know, so I can understand where you're coming from. It must be very difficult for you. You know,
I don't know. I feel like for me, what I really like is that you know, like they say, it takes a village to raise a child, and luckily for me, I had that village. I had the most amazing supportive system ever. I have these amazing friends who are always there with me. And then I had these people who will advise me, like, this is not how you do it, this is how you do it. So it was more of an emotional journey, I would say, being a parent. Something that I never talk about, because, you know, like, when I would say, for example, it reached a point whereby I was so depressed because I'm wondering, how am I able to feed this child? You know, that time things are so bad. I don't even know how to start. So by the time I'm getting into depression, by the time I'm becoming like suicidal, you know, these are some of the emotions that people don't really talk about. But by the time you're there, you're thinking, oh my God, like, okay, I'll fight. So every single day it's a fight for another day. But you see, this is something that most single parents don't talk about. Single parents don't know that your mental health and
yeah.
your sense of emotions, you need to learn how to balance it and be okay for you to be able to raise a child that is not taking care of you. Because I have seen kids as young as 5 years old taking care of the parents, you know? They're the ones opening the door for their parent when they come home. But it's a child. A child is supposed to grow and figure these things out, not the other way around. So these are some of the things that I feel most of people who are like single parenting, it becomes too much. We don't know how to handle it. Have you ever reached a point like that, John King?
I'll tell you a quick story. It's very interesting that the level of depression, psychological problems that parents go through raising children, and in families, a full set, you know, a nuclear family. But again, you look at a single unit kind of a family whereby you only have one parent in that system.
Yeah,
It's really complicated. It's really complicated.
yeah.
You go through stuff. I must say, I also had such kind of thoughts at some point. You feel like nobody understands you. You feel like, why should I be doing this? You feel like
Yeah.
maybe I shouldn't. I should just run away and leave this child. But then you look back and say, okay, some people actually raised me to be where I am today, right? So what do I need to do? So in my case, I had to make friends. I really had to learn how to become an extrovert and make friends. So I made both male and female friends. One of the guys, one of the first friends I made was with my Boda Boda guy for many years. You know,
the best.
His wife died at childbirth, and he had to raise a child from birth to the age of 12 by himself. And he was doing Boda Boda business. Right? So you can imagine it. And he used to really encourage me. He used to talk to me, he used to call on me and ask me, how are you doing? How are you managing? This how you do things. Then I also had some very, very close female friends and some relatives that I would go to and say, okay, now I don't know. You know, she's basically not mapping. How do you do it? She's, you know, several things. At night, she has flu. What do you do? So I got ideas. You use, you know, home-based remedies that you can use. So the psychological trauma that we go through as new parents, nobody teaches you. The world, you just thrown into the world. And you're happy for a moment that, you know, there's a young baby, you know, you're feeling all nice and all that. Then now the hard part starts of raising that child and providing for that child. They don't want to know whether you're not, you know. They have to eat, and if they don't eat, you're in problems because If you take them to the hospital and they're malnourished, then there's another problem. So what do? You have to learn it. You have to sweat it out.
Yeah.
That's actually in essence, I went through that. I went through the whole process of it.
Yeah. First of all, we want to thank everyone who has just joined us. Thank you so much for joining. This is Single Parenthood 101. And we have someone by Asiko who says, that's very true. Your mental health plays a very important role in how you raise a child. And I do agree with Asiko, because the moment when I realized my mental health was not okay, because I was emotionally scarred. Yeah. I had to realize, I had to choose. It's either I deal with emotions or I become a parent that is not right for this child. And I keep on saying children are very, very innocent. But sometimes due to trauma, due to so many things that you've gone through, then it affects on how you raise kids. And something that most parents will not talk about is, when it comes to raising kids as a single parent, you really need to stop being selfish. It's not about you. It's about that child. I remember this one time, and this is one of the best advice I ever received during my child custody case, which we will get into on a different episode, not today. The best advice I was given is, you know what, Conchita, at this point where you are right now, as much as your heart should be betrayed, you're feeling so many things, it's not about you, it's about this child. What's the whole essence of, if someone wants to take part of this person, like this little young one's life, allow them to be, because there's so many things happening here. I was thinking, I never want to raise a daughter with daddy issues. I never want to, to raise a child that is, has so many doubts. I don't want to raise a child who will end up self-harming herself. I don't want to raise a child who is going to be like, oh no, oh, this and this is happening. And I remember this one time, my daughter was 6, and she asked me, why do you hate my dad? That thing broke me. Like, I am not a person to display emotions, man. That thing broke me. And I was wondering, okay, I'm giving you ABCD, I'm giving you this and this and this. What am I missing? Then I realized parenting is not about giving your child a 100% fun time. Oh no, you have to be hands on. It's not good times only. You have to be. So like, I used to think, like, if I take her out, have a good time, if I take her, like this one and here, and I will take her with my bonus son, and I will make them have fun. But something I realized they remember the day we cooked our first, like we baked our first cake. They remember the day we did our first painting. They remember the day I played with them, outside. They remember the day I went jogging with them. And I'm like, it's never about money. It's about time, how you spend time with these kids. And this is something that I believe as single parents, we need to focus more on. Though I know people are going to be like, you know what, it's different. Suppose kama kuna mtu mwenye anafanya kazi kwa mjengo, kama kuna mtu mwenye anafanya kazi and all this. It's more of like, okay, how do we find a balance between all this? Oh, and sorry about that. I have to read all these comments. So we have Austin who says, such a timely show, love it. Thank you so much, Austin. And then we have Ondiro Ganga who is saying, I am not a single parent, but that advice sounds sane. A child deserves to have both a mother and a father. Both can separate and be mutual, but for the sake of a child's stability, the wholesomeness, healthy co-parenting is necessary, which is something that we will definitely talk about. So, John King,
that's
what do you think?
Beautiful sentiment. Oh, yeah. I agree. Going back to that comment about, you have to be emotionally balanced. Again, it goes back to the advice I was given in the beginning. I remember having the same conversation with my mother, and she told me, listen, one of the key things you will have to harness right now is how to build your emotional balance, because people are going to toy with your emotions along the way. And once you give that out, once you give people control of your emotions, and they manage to manipulate, then they can put you in any situation you feel like, and then you lose
Yeah.
focus on what you need to do as a parent. Being a
Mm-hmm.
parent, nobody teaches you. Nobody gives you a booklet to read. You can read all the
Yeah.
authors in the universe, but every child comes in a unique way. They come in a very, very unique way, So if one of the key things, any parent
Mm-hmm.
in any
Mm-hmm.
setup, one of the key things you have to harness is emotional balance. The second
Okay.
advice I got was from my former boss. My boss told me that, you have all the glory, you can have all the things you want
Yeah.
in this universe, but never be a money solution driven parent, because your children will just look at you in terms of money. So
Money.
if you're never at home, when you're supposed to be at home to see how they are growing. To compensate for that, you're buying toys to give children, and then these children, they play with the toys for a couple of days and things like that, bang them on the wall, and it's gone. Or because you are never there, now you take a child to go and enjoy chips and chicken, sausage and sodas, and you feel like you've done the very best, and take pictures and share with friends and
Yes,
have
please.
it as something you're doing. That is not parenting. Parenting is being there. You have to be
Sure.
there. If you are in a setup, for example, whereby you are co-parenting, I want to assume maybe a court
Yeah.
has decided that you have to go in that direction. It
Mm-hmm.
is your duty to ensure that when you are called upon and when it's your part you need to play, you have to play it. Otherwise, how are you going to face your child in the future when they have questions like, for example, why are you coming now while somebody else was taking care of your business?
Sure.
You understand? Yeah.
It
So
is
I agree.
crazy.
Emotional balance is very important. Yeah. Yeah.
But the other thing I was saying, it's more of like something I've come to realize is today is just the introduction of single parents for parenthood. Eventually, we're gonna go to topics after topics after topics, but we're just doing like a general kind of thing.
Yeah.
So first of all, we have Mimo Emmanuel who's saying insightful, insightful, insightful. You are welcome. This is from experience, by the way. True life stories. We are not faking it. We are talking from what we face. So, like I was saying, one mistake I've also come to learn that when it comes to single parenthood, most people do is there's this element of selfishness. And let me
Mm.
tell you, I will not deny. There was a time I was so hurt, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be selfish. But then I realized, quite keep to attacking Makasiriko, like I attack him,
Mm-hmm.
whereby whenever there's going to be something, either cause of death, whether you got pregnant or as a teenager, either God forbid from rape, there's that element of people always wanting to blame you. You'll find there's a lot of people who
Mm.
will want to say, like, oh, it's your fault, oh, you did this, you could have done A, B, C, D. But there's always one thing that I usually say. Sometimes don't listen to society. So there's this element of selfishness where this most of the time it comes from the pain that you've gone through. Like people have said so much, so many
Mm.
things that you feel like you need to retaliate. You're like, Apana, I'm gonna attack. So this comes to the point whereby like, you know what, and I've seen most people doing this. Oh, ataona mtoto wake akifika from whatever 18. Oh, he will never see this. Or she will never do this. Oh, ati nini? Ataongea na mtoto wake, ataongea na mtoto wake when I feel like I have seen a lot of selfishness when it comes to a lot of single parents. And most of this selfishness usually comes because of the pain that people have gone through. So sometimes something I came to learn is, as much as it's difficult, for the sake of your child, you really have to be selfless, no matter how painful. And let me tell you, John King, let me kusema from experience. Pia mimi nakwanga nako kwa uchungu saa zingine niko like, what are these? What are these? Like,
Sometimes you can end up fighting a losing battle. sometimes you can end up fighting a losing battle.
Yes. But you see, that's the whole thing I'm saying. It's the selfishness that sometimes we have. I'm going to say we because even I have found myself there. I'm not going to put myself to be like the good person. No, 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 no. I've also been in a situation whereby I'm like, you know what? People will feel when you finally feel. But you see, it's
Mm.
not supposed to be like that. It's never supposed to be at anything like that. So how do
But
people handle this?
I really do not know. But you know, generally, human beings are selfish. We are selfish animals. Yeah. Uh, ladies have this saying of self-love. You know, what does that mean? Self-love. So you have to love
Yeah.
yourself first before you love somebody else. If
Mhm.
you're traveling with a plane, you will be told, you know, in case of emergency, you have to, you know, exactly yourself first before you help another person. So it's generally you are selfish, but try to understand it from the point of, you know, you've committed to somebody, right?
Yeah.
You know, you nicely, you know, the life is going to move in a certain direction, and you're moving on well, and then at certain point something happens, differences of opinion, violence start happening in the relationship, and then you make a decision to leave. So at that point in time, you're basically emotionally driven. So you'll be
Sure.
basically making emotional decisions. Now, these emotional decisions, in the long run, affect the children. They say fali wawili wakipigana nyasi ndio.
I
Now, in
said
this,
it in the beginning. Yes, you,
right?
yes, and you mean. But that's the whole thing. I'm telling you, it's more of like it's crazy when you think like how much you've been hurt, and you know, like I've come to realize it's more of like most parents, not just in general, people don't deal with the
Mm.
hurts. People carry it over. And you see, that's why, you know, like you'll find that those people like, "Why, nako? Nanikumbusha babako? Nanikumbusha mamako? Mamako ni useless." You know, such kind of things.
Mm.
You find parents telling kids things that they're not supposed to understand. I don't have a rule. I'm like, my friends, if you're dealing with emotions, deal with emotions. Don't bring it to the, you know, like to your child. Because huyu mtoto akusema, they never asked to be here. Kama ni kierere likupeleka pale kama watu wengine tunajua full-time job, you know, except for those who got into this situation under very, very bad circumstances. Those one can be able to understand. But you know, this has been happening here. This is something which has been there. I, for a fact, I became a mom at a really young age, whereby by the time I am really raising a baby, my friends are in campus living a vida loca, you know. So you find that
Yeah.
it was more like finding balance between do I like how do I balance being a mom at the same time lived according to my age, such that I don't want to be in my 50s and I am out there kuleniko, you know, nangangana kwenda, you know, those stages I missed at such a young early age. I'm there, you
Yeah.
know, like with the kid, tumepatana tu mahali, like, oh, mom, you're here, and I'm like, oh, about that, you know. So it's just what's I was trying to make sure is balance between, you know, at the end of the day, the few things you have to go through to develop into an individual, you know, the stages you have to cross. So by the time I was busy, you know, holding a baby, my friends were busy, you know, like living the best life. So by the time I'm going to hang out with them, it's not the same. They are having fun. They are drinking, you know, vodka. What? I can't drink a vodka that time. So you see, so it was more like
Not
wow,
miss out on the.
like mind blowing. So now you understand. It's more of like different people have different experiences, but the question is, what is your focus? Like, who are you focusing on? Are you focusing on yourself and the child and the person who's in the other side? Are you focusing on being a better person, being A, B, C, D? Not forgetting, a lot of people get into situations because of poverty. And as my people will say, poverty, you know? but it's more of like these things are happening in the society. So can we have a conversation about it? Can you guys tell us, converse with us, tell us your experiences? That way we can be able to build such a strong community that is away from all these traumatic whatever. Oh, and I'm seeing there's so much comments. Sorry, we have a Siko saying, in my experience, when it comes to selfishness, I always say that children belong to the universe and we're just custodians as parents. When you think about it, that's where it becomes more about the best interest of the child than it is yours. Huyu apatiwe ile asoda.
I agree with that sentiment because it's been a month of use. Because I used to say, God, I am just a vessel. This is your problem. My job is to do my best to take care of that problem.
Sure.
So I agree. Yeah, nice sentiment.
So we have at Kelvin Mukundi who say, nice one, great conversation. Thank you, Kevin. So I'll throw this back to you, King. You were saying?
I was saying, well, the roller coaster is definitely there. The emotional decisions will come up. But there are always mechanisms of how to cope with it. How do you make a decision on priorities? What becomes your priority when you find yourself in such a situation? But all I can say, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. It can feel like it's the end of the world, but it's not. If you look backwards, if you reflect, and you will see and realize the milestones you made, and you sometimes laugh about it. I'm like, oh, how I did it. Oh, then you tell someone the story, and you're like, this is what happened when this child was at this particular age. I don't know much about co-parenting, the essence, but I know that there are mechanisms, there are ways, there are phases. Sometimes you have to go through a certain phase, emotional phase. You have to be bitter. You have to reach a point where you have to realize realization in your life that it's basically the other party also has to be involved. So we have a lot to talk about, but we also have limited time. So
definitely have limited time actually. And then again, we want to thank everyone who has joined us for our first this is the premiere and the intro. And just look at the comments. You have at John Pascal Paco who says, very important to share to various groups and other stakeholders. Just done that in my WhatsApp and my FB. Hope they tune in before the show. And lapses. We're gonna keep a little bit of time for you on that. And then we have at Owana Nation who says, great conversation. Thank you so much. And then we have at Nelson Hongo who says, good talk. Well, guys, thank you so much. So this is a question that we want to ask you from single parenthood. What are some of these challenges that you've faced? Because we had a situation whereby someone said, like, you know what, excuse me, like, oh, my ex-boyfriend stole our baby. What am I supposed to do? I don't have the financial means to do this. I don't. And you see, those are the things why we're here. It's more of like getting information, because there are channels of helping that. People need to learn their rights. Like every child has equal right to the father and the mother. And something I've noticed coming to like on John King's actually situation. There was a time I was in court, I remember, during my custody, and it was the grandparents and and the father who were actually in court, and I found that very intriguing, whereby the grandparents were like, you know what, we understand, this is okay, we've been raising this child since like the mom passed away, now he wants to take care of the child, we have no issue. So there's this other person that he wants to bring in the picture, we want this and this to be able to happen. So people don't really know like such kind of things really do happen, and there's a solution to it. A lot of people just think like it's done, it's done. And I've seen people who are like, acha kae na mtoto, atarudi akitaka kurudi, mtoto rudi kwa huyu, like there's that mentality. I've also seen women who are like, nimempatia mtoto kama zawadi, nitazaa mwingine. You understand? So there's so much that is always happening. True. I've seen, to be honest, I've seen people who have been so frustrated. They're like, I will be, but it's not supposed to be the case. We want to build a very healthy society that we can be able to talk so much about this thing and support each other, you know. So all we have at Ondiro who is saying, I think the biggest challenge when it comes to being a single parent is providence. Mostly mothers are left to cater for the kid, and most mothers don't know the law, nor do they want the legal battle, hence end up struggling. And Ondiro, from personal experience, well, let me sip water first of all because it's a journey.
I can see the comments. So
Yeah, so from personal experience, actually, it's very true. Most people go through this, and it's more of a balance. But at the end of the day, is what you're trying to tell people out there is there's usually a solution. In court, you really don't need a lawyer to present you, as especially when it comes to matters children's court. Because I've been through that journey. Sometimes you can be able to present yourself and state out what the situation is. Something that most people don't understand is that the courts do listen. The courts actually do listen. This is something I learned from, from when I was going through the same process. The children's court do listen and they pay attention. You just have to take yourself there. If you cannot be able to afford a lawyer, sometimes they can provide one for you for actually free. But even yourself, you can go and speak up. That's why most people will not even go to court with lawyers. They will go themselves like, minjo mama mtoto, minjo baba mtoto. Uyu mama alinifanyia ABCD. And I've seen it work. I've seen a situation whereby a woman was so selfish to the point she was not allowing, like the father the right to visitation. Alikuwa amemkataza kabisa. And this is a person who wanted to be involved. So what the judge did was like, listen, it is really against the court, you denying this and this. So for this purpose, these kids are going to be here for this period of time as we wait for the next hearing. So these things, there are solutions to it. It's just that we don't know about the solutions when it comes to matters like, coming to struggle with our providence and all that. Oh, and I think John Kina just left me here alone, but you know what? I got this. So we have at Steve Corrill. Amazing conversation. Thank you so much, Steve. You are most welcome. So like I said, there's so much that goes on when it comes to single parenting. It's never a glass of, wine. It's not a smooth ride. There's some days you cry. There's some days you don't even know what you're doing. There's some days you go, like sometimes you even go on your knees. You're like, God, what have I done wrong? There's some days you question yourself. There's some days you just have like amazing laughter. You laugh the entire time. You have a really, 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 really amazing time. And for that reason, John King, welcome back. Karibu.
Thank you. I think Safaricom
so
decided
like I was
to do
saying, it's never. It's okay. Technology has its parts. So it's okay. So we have these conversations that we are going to always be talking about. So it's every single Saturday from 5 p.m. till 6 p.m. So if you have any questions, if you need any help in terms of a situation that you're going through, someone to talk to, this is some of the things that we are going to cover throughout, the entire season. And this season is going to be amazing. So from co-parenting to mental health, to how you deal with, situations, finance, all these things, to child custody, to battling with, so many other things, to dating as a single parent, which is one of the topics that I'm waiting for. John King, you? What is one of your favorite subjects that you're waiting for?
That would be fun to discuss. It'd be interesting to hear people's experiences. Please join us on the show. You can also come live to it, and let's have this kind of conversation. So we have a lot of topics to talk about. Lots and lots of topics, lots of laughter, lots of experiences. Let's learn from one another. Let's get. Let us learn from different experiences.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, I feel like, your experiences, everyone's experiences here, everyone who's going to be joining this really matters, because sometimes we might learn so much from you than from what we have experienced. So it's more about getting information from all of you. So if you have gone through certain, certain situation, how did you handle it? How did you deal with it? So we need to build a network, a community that we support each other, because at the end of the day, we are not alone. We need each other. And for that reason, please remember, any feedback that you have to send, or any sort of stories, if you want to be featured in, if you want us to talk to someone, if you're a professional in a certain specific title when it comes to single parenthood, you can always send us a WhatsApp message that is at 0789 041 144. Send the message to us, talk to us. That way we can be able to, have a communication, have you join us, we talk. We just don't want to be me and John King. We want everyone to be involved. Imagine John King,
Yeah.
Send the message to us, talk to us. That way we can be able to, have a communication, have you join us, we talk. We just want to be me and John King. We want everyone to be involved. Imagine John King,
Yeah.
Send it to us, talk to us. That way we can be able to, have communication, have you join us and talk. We just want to be me. That is the feedback from Safaricom. Once again, this was so much fun. I don't know if you guys have any questions, or anyone who would like to join us on the next topic. Remember, next Saturday, actually, we are thinking of talking about the biggest milestone, and that is co-parenting. It could be from the other spouse or not spouse. It could be from like a guardian perspective. It could be from a different kind of person, but we don't want it to be about us. We want it to be about you. So send us the feedback. Tell us what you want us to talk about, and we will get right onto it. Naona nimepiga kayamba sana.
Thank you very much.
So unfortunately, I think we're out of time. Sorry, I can't hear you, John King.
I'm saying co-parenting next
looking forward
weekend.
to this.
Yeah.
I think I will contribute way too much, because about my co-parenting skills. It's has come.
Yeah, well, we need
I'm
more
just
people,
kidding.
more people on that particular topic, because it's one of the most complicated arrangements and arithmetic that people have worked out. Some in court, some out of court, some have just agreed,
Sure.
some it's working, some not working. So I look forward to this. Join us next weekend for the same. Let's have the conversation on Saturday, same time, 5 p.m.
Yes, and remember, just in case if you have been a victim of any of these issues, especially when it comes to like being a victim of rape, then you find yourself in a certain parenthood, teenage pregnancy. Again, our phone number is right there. We will help you get in touch with the right people who can be able to help you get the right help. Because at the end of the day, it's just not about our experiences. Like, we are here to help people become, like we all become better parents. So it's from experiences from ours, but we are really willing to be able to step a little bit a notch higher. So guys, this was so much fun. Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye until next Saturday. My name is Lillian. Thank you, and have a fantastic. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.